Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. So following the success of the last window seat episode that I did with Mike Gray, which was last month, I'm going to link that in the description if you haven't already checked it. I am bringing another guest to the window seat, and this time we've got JM Tubera, who is an amazing photographer. I have actually mentioned him on this channel before in my 21 film photographers to watch, or that you should know, or whatever. I will link that in the description as well if you want to check it out. But I sat down with JM and we had quite a long chat about everything from, you know, his moving from the Philippines to Melbourne, how he sees the industry in Melbourne, the kind of makeup of how he, you know, goes about his shoots and how he works with models, all the way to talking about how to deal with, you know, critics or people who don't always have nice things to say about you and your work in this age of sharing your work on the internet. But without saying much more, I'm going to get straight into the interview. A massive shout out to JM for sitting down with me. I'm going to link him in the description alongside the playlist for the series if you do want to check out Mike's episode, and there are going to be hopefully monthly episodes of Window Seat. So a massive thank you again, and we'll get straight back into it. Amazing. So thank you so much for joining me. I have been following you for a while. I don't know how long I've been following you for. I feel like it's got to be like a couple of years, I want to say, like a while. I don't know how I found you actually, but for those of the people that are watching that don't know who you are, do you want to give a bit of an introduction?
Oh yeah, sure. I think we've been following each other for like a year or two, maybe. I'm not sure. But yeah, anyway, my name is JM Tubera. I'm from the Philippines. I moved here to Melbourne almost 3 years ago. And I shoot portraits on film, and I've been shooting film for about 2 years now. So I'm still kind of new, but yeah. So I focus on portraits, and yeah.
So you've been shooting film for 2 years. Did you shoot digital before that, or was it just film from the get-go?
I did actually was shooting digital before when I was still in the Philippines. I've been shooting digital for about like I think 5 years, six years before I actually got into film. So when I was in the Philippines after I graduated, actually was working as a photographer, like as a freelance photographer already. For like magazines, like just freelancing and stuff. So I was really into like fashion before, like fashion photography. So it's really different from what I do now. So which is like just more portraits and not really focused on fashion.
What kind of spurred you to get into film then? Like if you were shooting digital already, what made you make the change?
So when I came here, I kind of stopped shooting like for myself, like personal stuff. So I also stopped, like I kind of stopped like photography for like 2 years because I was so focused on like studies. So before I moved here, I wasn't planning on actually studying like masters, but like I went here as a tourist, and this was like after I resigned from my photography job in the Philippines. So I actually had like a in-house photography job in the Philippines, and then I resigned, and then I went here as a tourist to Melbourne, and after spending like I think 2 weeks, so I was supposed to stay for a month, right? And then after I stayed for 2 weeks and then kind of like experience how it is like living outside the Philippines, I was like, yeah, it's like a lot, like way better. And that was my first experience. That was my first experience like living in another country because I don't really travel much, and it's like it's really expensive as well. And yeah, I was supposed to stay for a month. I was with my mom, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna extend my because I resigned anyway, so I don't have to like go back to my country for other stuff. So I said, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna extend my stay for 3 months because that's my visa's gonna end like for 3 months. So I stayed here for 3 months, and I just kind of like just went outside by myself because my brother works because my brother lives here. Went outside by myself, just experienced the city by myself, going out, going on a train. It was so easy because like trains in the Philippines are just like the worst. And yeah, for 3 months, and then after that, I went back home to the Philippines and kind of fix my papers, like fix my visa. And the only way for me to stay here permanently is to study masters. And because I finished bachelor's of IT in the Philippines, so I had to take a master's in IT here, which is really different from what I actually want to do. But like I want to stay here as well because like the life is a lot better here. So I did study a master's in IT. It was the hardest 2 years of my life because you know how you like you're doing the thing that you don't really like, and you just had to like do it just for the visa. And then that's kind of like how I also got into film, because I stopped for 2 years because I was so focused on studies. And and I was like, should I quit photography now? Because like I don't know anyone here. Like I was really new, I was really intimidated, and then I didn't know how to like approach people, because I've never built my network here, and I feel like a foreigner, like feel like out of place. I don't know anyone from the creative scene. And then I was like, should I quit? And then this is funny because I was actually on a plane going back here to Melbourne, and then I saw on Pinterest how like those images have like those Portra 400 borders.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then I saw that it was actually from a medium format camera. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy that. I'm
You
gonna
just
buy a
decided
film
like
camera. Yeah, I just decided like that. And that's how I got into film photography. And that's how I started like doing like shoots again and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting actually. Like, I think for me it was probably very similar. Like you see a picture of something shot on a medium format, and then you kind of like fall in love with with it and think this is going to revolutionize my work. But do you still shoot digital now, or is it just strictly film for you?
Yeah, I still shoot digital now for my work. So I actually I still do like weddings, like you. Like I do weddings, I do almost everything just to like kind of like survive, because I don't really earn money from film that yet. I really want to like make film photography as my main source of income, but at the moment it's just not possible. So I do like food photography, so it's all digital: food photography, family, weddings, but I don't really post them that much.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get that. So what's the scene like for photography in Melbourne? Like, would you say that it's kind of booming, or is it quite difficult to find work?
With photography, I guess with like film, it's kind of hard because I don't think everyone here understands like the whole like film photography thing yet, because like you have to spend money on like film, and then you have to add that to the budget, so it's gonna be way more expensive than what usually the rate is for photography. So I think that's the hardest part with film photography here, with like in terms of finding jobs, because brands do think it's like a lot expensive because you have to add the film expenses. And but so far I've kind of worked with some brands that actually like they're actually into like that kind of aesthetic, like the film stuff, like the dust and all that, just the film look, and they actually really value like the whole thing. So yeah, I've worked with some brands, but like in terms of other photography, in terms of like food, like the ones that I usually do, it's like it's kind of good. So I shoot for DoorDash, like the delivery app, and yeah, they give me a lot of jobs actually, so it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's always good to kind of have those other avenues that you can kind of use to fund what it is you actually really want to be doing. So how would you kind of like describe your work? Like, obviously I'm going to put some photos up on screen, but if someone hasn't seen your work before, how would you describe it?
So I would say my work is, well, that's really hard, but my work is kind of like really simple. I don't want to say authentic because that might sound like really.
No, I think think your work is definitely authentic, definitely.
Yeah, because like I used to be like I used to do like fashion where everything is just really styled. You know, like you have to book a stylist, you have to book hair and makeup, you have to have a certain concept. Whereas to now, I don't really think much about that. I want the shoot to be as like hassle-free as possible, and I want it to be really simple. So let's just put it like this way, where whenever like I do shoots, I don't really like telling people like what to wear exactly or what the concept is gonna be. But I just know that I have like some shots in mind and certain location in mind. Then I would just leave it to them, like whichever like clothes they want to wear. So you know, just for me to be surprised as well, like whatever like your style is, whatever you want to wear, accessories, whatever. But the most important thing is that they're there at the shoot, and I want to take portraits of them. Yeah, I think that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you can tell because your work is very much about the person. So I think, you know, allowing them that freedom to dress how they want and kind of like focus the shoot just around who they are as a person definitely comes through in your work.
Yeah.
But I can see like you've got all your photos up on the wall. Have you got
Yeah.
a favourite one that you want to talk about? Because I love your work. You know I love your work. But
Oh, yeah, I actually have a favorite. Have you seen that photo where that guy Ruben, my friend, is like holding like a cross, like a necklace?
oh yeah, I know the one. I'll put it on screen for
Yeah,
everyone
that
to
one
see,
was
but...
my most favorite one because I think that's how I started like falling in love with portraits, because that's really, I just like it. Like it's just the way like the camera just focuses on him, and with the cross like in the middle of his mouth, it's just like really fascinating to me. And then when I posted that picture, it got like a lot of attention, and then I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. It's really like it, that means like I kind of like had this validation from people. Which is kind of bad, but yeah, when I saw that picture and I posted that, that's I told myself that this is kind of like what I wanted to do in the more in the future. So after that shoot, I just kind of like just did portraits for until now, and yeah, that's how I met people as well, and that's how I fell in love with more with like film, which I stopped doing digital at all with personal work, which people like find like surprising sometimes, because like film is really expensive. But I was lucky that I had this job, and then I spent like, before I actually got comfortable with film, I spent so much money on just doing test shoots with people.
How long do you think it took you to get comfortable with shooting film?
If you do like a lot of shoots in a year or like in a month, probably like 6 months.
Yeah, that's a lot of film though, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it's a lot of film, but I used to overthink with like shooting film, just because you never really know like what's gonna be the come out, and if the model is gonna like it, and because people are not usually used to like them not seeing themselves with pictures, because usually people like to like check themselves with like previews and stuff, right? But then I guess it kind of like goes down to like the people you work with as well, that make sure that there's someone that really values film photography, and that they know that not every picture is gonna go out well, because you never really know what's gonna be to come out.
So how do you find the people that you work with? Is it people that you know already, or do you find them on Instagram or street casting? How is it that you kind of find the people that are down to do these portraits?
So I usually just like to stalk people on Instagram, not in a bad way, but I used like just scout people in Instagram. So some days I would just like, cause I'm on Instagram 24/7 basically. But some days I would just like to just go on someone's profile, then go to another one's profile, and then see their tag pictures, and then oh, I'll find this person and then I'm just gonna take notes. Okay, I want to work with this, but I just want to take portraits of this person. And yeah, I think that's really fun to just do that sometimes instead of like just going to modeling agency.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I feel like you can build relationships with people a lot easier that way as well. Do you find that? Do you find that you are able to build relationships with the people that you work with and kind of, you know, work with them again? Or do you like to try and, you know, work with different people every time that you do a personal project?
I do like to work with different people most of the time, just because I don't want to be too comfortable with just shooting the same person. And also like I kind of like a part of the process is, you know, meeting different people, and that's one of the things why like I fell in love with portrait is just because when I went here, so basically Melbourne is really multicultural, and when I went here, I had I had this drive to get to know people from different backgrounds and different cultures, and yeah, I really enjoyed that process of just, you know, messaging other people, different people from different backgrounds, and yeah.
So do you have kind of like a go-to process when it comes to your portraiture, whether that's like in your planning process or actually on the shoot? Do you have kind of things that you do every time to kind of ensure your outcome? Or?
So I normally don't, like I do mood boards, but I normally don't do it just because I hate it when like things don't go as planned.
Yeah.
So I normally just go easy on it and just kind of like wing it. But I think the start of the process is just scouting locations. So for example, if I'm traveling to somewhere, for example, if I have a food shoot like on this area, I'm most of the time just gonna look at the window from the train and just like see, oh, this good, this location is really good, so I'm just gonna take notes of that and just like use it for future shoots. And I think most of the time I'm gonna start with location, and then I'm gonna think, oh, this person will look good, like with portrait on this location. This clothes will look good as well. Yeah, so location first, and then finding a person, and then just like messaging them like with the time and date, and that's about it. It's really simple. I don't want to make it complicated because it's really hard to just find people and like schedule people, especially like makeup artists, stylists. I just want to do it like just me and the model.
Yeah, no, that's nice. I think that's a nice approach. But so when it comes to actually like being on shoot, are there certain things that you look for? Are there certain, you know, what is it that kind of draws you to an image?
I guess it has to be with the eye, and there's certain characteristics as well. So when I scout people, I kind of like look for like something unique from them. Like maybe it can be their hair, or their eyes, or just like how they style themselves or carry themselves. So it can be different things, but most of the time it's more about like, you know, the person, like the face and just the feature, like their like facial features. But when it comes to shooting, my only goal is just to get at least really one good portrait that I can use in the future, maybe like for a book or something.
So you mentioned, you know, you want one good photo for maybe if you're going to use it in a project or something. How do you go about, you know, when you're talking to your models and stuff like that? Obviously with film you generally get less photos than if you were shooting with digital and stuff like that. So how do you approach that subject and say, you know, we're going to do this shoot, but the film might not come back, you might not get any photos, you might get one photo, you might get 20 photos. Like, how do you go about that process of kind of preparing them for the process of film, I guess, if they're not familiar with it?
Oh, I usually just don't mention it. So I think,
don't scare them.
I think, yeah, I just don't want to scare them. But sometimes I kind of like sense that from people that, they kind of like disappointed that there's not a lot of like good pictures from the role. But I think it's because they never really approached me about that. Like they never like, hey, why is it not like, why is everything not good? But you kind of like sense it like, okay, yeah, that's cool. We've got a few pictures like really good, but yeah, I mean, I guess that's getting a lot of good pictures, not the goal of film photography anyway. Because people back then used to shoot a lot of film, and it's just like one sometimes it's just one picture that's gonna come out really good. And you know how you see those contact sheets and only one like is like circled, because that's the only like usable picture. And then I guess because people got used to like like the digital being like having a lot of chances of taking pictures and having to review them. So I guess it might come down to like educating people, like telling them that yeah, it's film, so we can't really do anything about it. But I guess it comes with practice as well. Like it has to come down to us as well, where we have to make sure we get at least a few like a row. But if that doesn't happen, then I mean it still should be all good. At least one should be good.
Yeah, no, I feel like with your like caliber of work though, and like the standard that you shoot at, even if you were to get one good photo, that photo is going to be amazing. So I'm sure they're not going to have an issue with it anyway. But you mentioned as well, like you want to put it into, if you had a good photo, you might put it into a book or something. Is that something that you're working on or you've got in the pipeline?
That's definitely like my plan in the future. Just because, yeah, when I was in the Philippines, I was basically like kept in a bubble, like so I'm not like educated about other things. And I noticed how um I noticed back in the Philippines how they always like prefer like lighter skin tones. So it's always like ads and just images just revolves around like people with lighter skin. And people would always associate like darker skin with like, being dirty, being unprofessional, something like that. And we have lots of like whitening products in the Philippines as well. Not sure in other countries, to be honest. And then my plan in the future, or like my end goal would be like to create a book, or maybe do like a huge exhibition of like my portraits, just to show like kind of like the world how there's actually like beauty from other skin colors as well. Or you have to like see that there's a lot of like you know really like beautiful people from other countries, or like other skin colors. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, that's kind of like my end goal, just to decorate a book or like a huge exhibition. And then yeah, when I went here, I noticed it was like notice how multicultural this city is. So, and that became like just the reason, like my drive to actually get to know people, so I can be like more I can expand my friendship more. I know like I can get to know more people, not just like how I got used to back in the Philippines.
No, absolutely. So like other than kind of exhibiting your work or having a book, do you have any other kind of aspirations with your work? Like in terms of, would you like to one day just be doing portraits, and not have to do the food stuff, or is that always going to be a part of your practice?
Yeah, that's definitely that's definitely the goal. I don't really like doing like food photography. And I I'm not really a fan of wedding photography as well, just because I just don't have that energy to be like really happy all the time. And because you have to I guess have the same energy as the couple or just the whole wedding, because like it's their day, and then they have to feel that from you. And right now I've been thinking of quitting that job and just like focus on film, but I have to have the security and assurance as well for me to do that, because I don't want to just quit and then I'm living in another country. I don't have any support from anyone. So I just have to be like really sure that I can do it and, you know, support myself.
Yeah, for sure. So when it comes to like your work and like, you know, obviously we kind of live in a world where we consume a lot of media. We're looking at a lot of different artists. I'd say personally, you're one of my favorite photographers at the moment. But do you have any, you know, inspirations, like photography inspirations, or something that kind of like made you want to start?
Oh, definitely one of the first inspirations. I think a lot of film photographers would relate is Willem. So when I was just starting film photography, I would just watch Willem's videos, because he's really informative, and he's like his voice is just really, I don't know, just welcoming. So I would watch like his videos and I would get really inspired by like shooting film, because he makes it so like seem so easy, but it was not actually easy. And then I got inspired with like Rosie Matheson as well, the goat of portraits. Yeah, definitely the goat. And right now I'm getting inspired from Jonathan Mannion. He has like some really iconic shots from different artists, and also Jack McCain. I'm not sure if I pronounce it right, but they're really good portrait photographers.
So you shoot with it's the Mamiya RZ67, isn't it?
Yeah, I shoot with Mamiya RZ67.
Yeah.
The infamous.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? It is infamous. Do you shoot with the waist level, or do you shoot with a prism finder? What's your kind of setup?
So I used to think that I need to buy the prism finder, but I got used to the waist level finder. So I guess my advice for people is just like to get used to the waist level finder, because you're just gonna when you do a lot of shoots with it, you're just gonna get used to that. Yeah, so I shoot with Mamiya RZ67, a 110mm lens, the best lens for portraits, with a waist level finder, and I kind of like the huge like just screen where you can see like the, you know, like having a huge screen, like a huge viewfinder for it. So I use that, and then mostly I use Portra 400, and sometimes I explore other film stock like Portra 800, and right now I'm doing a lot of black and whites. Yeah, because I'm doing this black and white series. So I'm planning to shoot like six people or more, and just kind of like channel my emotions at the moment, because I'm going through some stuff, and instead of like just being in bed and just like keep thinking about it, I would just like I would just like to have an outlet and just channel my creativity and just do portraits. So it's a perfect timing for doing black and white, because I don't really do black and white.
Yeah, no, that's nice. It's nice that you have the outlet, and it's also nice to explore, I think. And, you know, even though you are such an amazing film photographer, it's always good to kind of, you know, broaden your horizons and stuff like that, and try out new things. But do you shoot handheld with the Mamiya, or do you shoot with a tripod? What's your...
So I usually most of the time I shoot handheld. I don't think I've ever used tripod. It feels very limiting to use tripod with RZ.
Yeah.
So, do you use tripod?
No. I usually use handheld, but if I'm in the studio sometimes and I have to use like a like a slower shutter speed or something like that, then I might use the tripod. But generally, I just hold it. It's a lot easier, isn't it?
Yeah. Even though it's really like heavy.
It is, but we'll get strong and we'll be fine. But what would you, if you had to give a kind of a top tip for using the Mamiya, what would it be? Because I know that it can be quite a complicated camera to use if you're new to medium format. So do you have kind of like a top tip?
Well, I guess people just have to use them a lot. Like you use the RZ a lot, for them to get used to the, like, especially the focusing. Like I remember, like you were messaging me about like the focus before, because it can be kind of hard at first. And having a good eye as well can help. Like what I mean by that is having a good glasses, or like just check if you still have the right glasses, because I think at some point I had to change my glasses because I noticed that like my focus is a bit off. So
Yeah, no. I'm going through that at the moment. I'm going to get some new glasses because my prescription's changed. But I just hate getting new glasses. It's horrible. I mean, it changes how you look. It's horrible.
Yeah, exactly. But did you want to try? I'm thinking of like getting contact lenses, but I'm not sure if it's good for me.
I used to wear contacts when I was younger, but I don't know. Like, it's just weird, isn't it? Because I feel like if anyone watching this wears glasses, you'll be able to relate. But when you wear glasses, you don't actually really know what you look like. So when you put your contacts in and you can see your face properly, it's a bit weird. Like, it's a bit strange to see your face without glasses. It takes a lot of getting used to.
Yeah, that's true. I kinda like no glasses look, to be honest. And for example, when it comes to filming, like for example, like with lights, it's just like it's like good without having like glasses, because you don't see.
Definitely.
I think that's one of the main reasons why I wanna use contact lenses. And also with RZ, like, you know how when you try to do and like your glasses just like get in contact with the camera, it's just hard sometimes.
Yeah. And at the moment when you're wearing masks and like they steam up, and then the waist level viewfinder steams up and you're just, it's not good.
Yeah, that's another thing. Oh my god. Do you guys still have to wear masks outside?
Yeah, we still not outside. We don't have to wear them, but we do have to wear them like in most places, basically, like any restaurants or something like. Unless you're eating, obviously you can take it off to eat. But yeah. So finally, I've got one last question, and that is: do you have any advice for people who are photographers who are coming up, starting out in the industry?
Number one is just don't listen to like other people. Like just don't let them don't let their opinion affect like your work. If you have like a certain look that you want to do you have a certain goal, a certain look that you want to do for the rest of your photography career, then just do it and just try to explore as much as possible. Because I had an experience before, because I used to be inspired by Paolo Roversi. So he's I'm not sure if he's an Italian photographer, but so his pictures are mostly dark and really, really moody, and he mostly use gowns for his work, and I used to mimic that back when I was still doing fashion photography back in the Philippines. And then there was this one guy, he said like, oh, it looks like an Instagram filter. And you know, Instagram filter back then is really like bad. And then when I heard that, it was like when I heard that, I was so down for like I think months, because I was so like he told me that in a way that, you know, that like kind of like to mock me. And I was really into it. Like I was into that look, and I stopped doing that look just because of that comment. yeah, I was really kind of like weak back then. I listened to people and then I changed it just because of that comment. So I stopped doing that look and I focused on other stuff. And I got more confused with what I actually want to do, because that's what I want to do in the first place. But then this person said, "Oh, it's not good. It looks like an Instagram filter." It affected me so much. And yeah, I guess just just don't mind other people and just focus on yourself. Really, really work hard and find find mentors, like find people that you trust, that can criticize your work constructively and not just make fun of it. Yeah, that would be my number one advice.
Good advice. I think definitely in the age of like social media where people can kind of hide behind a screen and you know, comment things that maybe aren't always constructive and aren't always kind. I think that's a good one to remember for sure.
They can just hide from a random profile. They can just pretend to be someone else and just like hate on you. I noticed that with, well, in your case, like I noticed like how some grown men would comment on your YouTube. And they're not even they're not even hiding. They're not even hiding stuff. They have the audacity to just comment on someone else's like work or someone else's ideas, and they think they're doing good. They think like they're proud of themselves on like doing something like that, but they're not really helping.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the thing. I think people online especially become maybe a little bit entitled and think that they kind of, you know, can say what they want and don't really realise the effects that it can have.
Yeah.
So I think that's good advice. I do think that even though it's easier said than done, I think, you know, being mindful of what advice you take on is always a good one, for sure.
But when it comes to us as well, like those established photographers already, the ones that kind of like figured out already what they want to do, I guess what we can do is just to be like really nice with like younger photographers, those who kind of like are just starting. Because like I noticed how some like threads on Twitter or like even like memes on Instagram mocking people doing a certain trend or certain look, where I just like put myself into their place, because I used to be that person, like just trying out like trends or, you know, just doing some fun stuff, because like it's what's photography about anyway, just doing different things and just and especially when you're starting, you have to figure out which category or which pathway you're gonna go. And if I'm that person and people are like making fun of like what I do, then I would just be really discouraged on like doing photography and just quitting. So I guess that what we can do, just like be kind, be nicer.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, everyone's got to start somewhere, and also like photography and art in general, it's very subjective, isn't it? Like what something I like might not be something that you like, and that's completely okay. It's all right, and you know, to have different opinions on art and stuff like that. And I agree. I think, you know, if you don't have anything constructive or kind to say, then keep it to yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Just don't say anything. Like. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my new motto. I might put that on my YouTube header. If you have nothing to say, nice to say, then don't say it.
Or log out, something like that.
Yeah, log out. Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was really fun.
I will link you and all of your work, amazing work, in the description for everyone to check out. But it was lovely speaking to you.
Oh, it was lovely speaking to you as well. This is actually our first time like seeing each other and talking to each other. Like we talk on Instagram, but not like actual video chat.
Yeah.
So, was nice.
It's a long overdue, isn't it? It's nice. This series has been nice for me because, you know, it's speaking to people who I've been saying for ages, we should chat, and we've been talking on Instagram or whatever, and you know, obviously we've got time zones and a lot of distance between us, but it's nice to kind of chat to like-minded creatives.
I'm really looking forward to that day where we can all just meet, like you, Vince, Matthew, just like the people I talk to on Instagram. It's just it would be really fun.